Hey, good morning and welcome. Happy Friday. Yeah, it's finally here. 800-951-0592. That is the toll-free number. Patriot Radio News Hour. I'm Joe Jaquin, CEO of the Patriot Trading Group. The website at allamericangold.com. And Ramon he does such a great job out there. You got to make that part of your daily routine. We got articles, videos, everything you need to know. We got the shopping cart there. Remember now, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, you can buy your gold. You can buy your silver. Just go out to All American Gold, hit the shopping cart icon or the shopping cart button or tab or whatever you want to call it, and you can shop away. The metals program, getting ready Monday, Tuesday, next week. I think we're going to get it all done. And before the end of next week. They'll all be out and delivered, so start looking for those. Or if you're a pickup, we'll be calling you for your pickups. If you're looking to join it, this is, and I guess I do like to pat myself on the back. It's the best plan out there. Nobody does it like us. If you don't know what the heck I'm talking about, the metals program, it's my version of a 401. And I make no apologies for telling you how horrible the 401k is. It's terrible. It's awful. Considering what they took away to give it to us. Back when American companies actually, did business in America, built all their stuff in America, we had pensions. Everybody did. It wasn't like only a few. No, everybody did. You worked at the supermarket, you're going to get a pension. You worked for IBM, right? Motorola, General Electric, right? The last remaining original Dow component. Boy, and it's really, I don't think it's be a Dow component much longer. It may not even be a Dow component anymore. It's worth so little anymore. And instead, you got these 401ks. Now, the 401k came into existence in the 80s. So it hasn't been around that long. But when you think about where the stock market has gone from, a few thousand points, 2,000-3,000 points to 26,000 points, you'd think we'd have, in the baby boomers, right? You guys are right in the throes of retirement, that we'd have people walking around like the commercial with millions of dollars. And yet, even when you leave the 1%ers in there, the average 401k balance isn't even $100,000. It's right at $100,000. And that's if you only take the people 55 and older. If you include everybody, then the average balance is less than 40. Obviously, not a great investment, right? This is when you sit there and you think about the fees that you've paid, and I know they've made them better now. Now they only whack you for about 2% a year. Most of the 80s and the 90s, they're hitting you at 4%. And somehow you're supposed to feel better about it. And, of course, I've done it for you. I've done the math for you. When Richard Nixon closed the gold window in 1971, an ounce of gold was $35, period. The Dow was 1,000 points. Well, it was 900 and something. Forget the exact number. Dow's up about 28 times. Right? 28 times since they closed the gold window. When you think about gold today, gold, what is it? As I drop stuff, gold's up $4, by the way, today. $1,415, right? It's up 40 times. So you tell me what the better investment is. And we can take different dates, right? I got to take that one because gold wasn't allowed to trade freely until after that, so you can't really start until then. And, if you go back to 2000, gold kills stocks. Now, obviously, if you go back to like 2011, stocks kill gold. But, over the long haul, gold will treat you just as well and really better than stocks are gonna. And so we created this metals plan for two reasons. One was when we run special. When I first started here, gold was like $300. Silver was $5, something like that. It wasn't that and I guess everything's relative, but it wasn't that expensive. Right now you think about, hey, I want a $20 gold piece, and we're saying, hey, it's $1,500. Well, I want a roll of silver. The first thing I ever sold, and I actually still remember who the customer was. I won't say her name. But it was a roll of U.S. Silver Eagles. And the funny part was it was $125. And I laugh because I remember that the mint premium on Silver Eagles at the time was like 50 cents over spot. Now the mint premiums are $2.50 over spot. Man, how things have changed. We'll talk about the metals plan again when we return. Don't touch that dial. 800-951-0592. We're talking about the metals plan. And really, it's kind of a way for you to put away gold economically, month after month, quarter after quarter, year after year. Because, the hardest part, right, is everybody tries to time the market. We all do it. It's human nature, right? We all want to buy at the bottom and sell at the top, and we know it never works. But the metals plan, you get 4 deliveries a year. And so you're just buying every month. The minimum is $100. There's no maximum. Like I said it the other week, right? We had the highest we got guys doing $2,000 a month, and all the way down to $100. But you have to do at least $100. You leave a card on file with us. You tell us the day of the month you want us to hit the card. Anywhere from the 1st to the 28th. So, a lot of people are like, yeah, the first of the month's tough. I got the mortgage or the rent. I got to pay the health insurance. I got the car payments. And they want to do it, on the 15th or the 20th, whatever it may be. And then you get 4 deliveries a year. We charge 0 fees. How much does it cost to set up? Nothing. How much does it cost if I want to cancel? Nothing. How much does it cost if I want to change the amount? Nothing. How much does it cost if I want to put it on hold for a month or two because I had an unexpected bill? Nothing. What if I want delivery only twice a year because I want the money to build up? What does that cost? Nothing. The only fee we have is if we ship to you. And then we have, just so you know, we have a scale. So if you're at the $100, you're not paying $35. We want to keep the fees as low as possible. If you pick up, then here or in Colorado, there are no fees. The best part is we pool all the money together. So you're going to buy everything you buy. Everything's at discounts. It's like you're buying in bulk. You're buying in volume. And it's just a great thing. And people, after you've been in the plan for a while, it starts piling up. It really, really does. And you get the advantage. You buy some months. Some quarters you bought low, other quarters you bought high, and then this and that. And it's just a great way to help offset the cost of your retirement. Something where for some people it's easier for them to put some hard assets away that way. Hey, I may not have $1,500 or, hey, I'm not a big hitter out there. I'm not going to be doing $100,000 orders and things of that nature. But they use the metals plan. A lot of you business owners out there, I get it, right? You don't have 401k, right? It's just you, right? Maybe it's you and your wife. Maybe you got a couple of employees. They don't have 401ks. You don't have a 401k. I mean, yeah, you know what? Here's the other great thing about the metals plan. It's not tax deferred. And you're like, why is that a great thing? Come on. Did you hear any of the debates? Not that I've heard. I guess I listened more than I thought. They all want to raise taxes. And I know Trump lowered them here, right? But you know. Right? Could you imagine the feeling right now? You're 50-something years old. And you're like, man, I'm 10, 15 years away from retirement. And thinking about what are the taxes going to be? I mean, 15 years from now, what's the debt? 50, 60, 70 trillion? Right? What are they going to do? My guess is, hey, by the way, there are going to be big changes to those 401 plans. Big changes. I think a lot of us are going to be, well, not me because I don't have one, are probably going to be forced into buying those treasuries because someone's got to buy them. And, of course, you've seen the yields, right? But neither here nor there. It's not tax-free. You own it. You own it. Right? When you get those 401k statements, just remember, people tend to forget, hey, I've got $100,000 in my 401k. No, you don't. You and Uncle Sam have that. Right? And as far as Uncle Sam's concerned, guess what, right? You owe him the money. And so it's not a tax instrument vehicle or anything like that. You just put it away. If you want more information, go to allamericangold.com. We got it out there on our website, our metals program. You can read about it there. If you have questions, call us here at the office. If you want to sign up, call us here at the office. And like I said, for those of you in the plan, and I mean, listen, it's an all-week deal. The shipping department is going to be jam-packed for the next week or so, but we're going to have them all out this week. 800-951-0592. Be your own administrator. Don't get sucked into paying all these fees and all this other stuff. Listen, it just doesn't add up. It really doesn't. I mean, when you look at it a short term, yeah, there's time. Listen, it goes back and forth. Gold outperforms stocks outperform gold, but over the long term, gold's been the winner. Yet when you turn on the TV, no one tells you should have it. Right when they do, maybe you should have 2% or 5%. That's it. Listen, I'm the first one to tell you, don't have all your money into gold, but make sure you got some. And the metals plan allows everybody to do so. Tomorrow, obviously, the news of the day, we had some economic data out. The Chicago Manufacturing Purchasing Managers Index, negative. This is the first time it's been negative in several years. They were thinking it was going to be a low number, but actually came in much lower than expected. Consumer confidence was also down, below 100 now. Consumer confidence at 98, but nobody cares. Everybody's waiting for tomorrow. What's going to happen at the meeting between Trump and Xi at the G20? Wall Street right now, here's what Wall Street's hoping for. They know they're not thinking there's going to be a deal. But what they're hoping for is the president will come out and say that he's going to wait on the other $300 billion and that they're going to resume talks again. I think that's the best that they can hope for. China's down for that. I've already told you China's answer. And it's going to be the same. Right? They're not budging. And if they do budge, then it's going to have to be, they're going to have to get something, right? They want a a 50-50 deal, right? And of course, it's like, this is what happens when you do such a horrible first deal. I'll liken it to this. It's like giving somebody something for nothing, and then 10 years later, so you've been giving them something for nothing for 10 years. 10 years go by, and really now we're almost 30 years, 20 years, 25 years. And you say to them, you know what? We want it back. We're not going to give you something for nothing. Right? I know every month, month after month, we gave you something for nothing. Now that's gone. What would the response be? Yeah, no, right? That's kind of what we got here. I want to share this. This was a report out of Reuters. They had a big picture of China. Now, China is starting to look like the Middle East. They're burning the American flag. And according to Reuters, in Beijing, they're saying that a spawning of national sentiment across the country has left many Chinese consumers shunning American products. According to the latest, 56% of Chinese citizens in the latest poll said that they have avoided American products, while 68% said that their impression of American firms has become increasingly negative. This poses a significant bottom line risk to U.S. companies, as 3 in 4 Chinese consumers now say they often would buy products from American businesses, but they are now shunning them. Beijing's called a nationalism a significant shift in China's negotiation strategy with Washington, and a series of op-ed editorials. So you think about like the Chinese Wall Street Journal, the Chinese New York Times, right? They're all writing, these Chinese CEOs and Communist Party leaders are writing all these op-eds, which slammed the United States, labeling the Trump administration as greed and arrogance. And again, think about the deal that they got. They know, right? They know that they were ripping us off. They called for a people's war, targeting the U.S. with precision as China begins to fight for a new world. The most important thing is that the China-U.S. trade war, the U.S. side fights for greed and arrogance, and morale will break at any point. In other words, they're saying, hey, just hold off, and the U.S. is going to cave. The Chinese side is fighting back to protect our legitimate interest. By the way, that was out of the Global Times, in case you want to look it up. And so when you're sitting there and you're thinking about this, when you hear the U.S. side talk about it, right, you hear about rational. Right? You hear about, well, China should agree because it just makes sense. Right? I mean, it's going to hurt their stock market too. Right? That's really what they're saying. Hey, they should agree to this because if they do, their stock market's going to go up just like ours. I mean, that's what they think. But you got to remember, we're dealing with a communist country. What comes first in a communist country? The billionaires don't come first, right? The people don't come first. The state is what comes first. And this is really what the trade war is all about. They want China to rewrite thousands of laws which essentially say, hey, the state owns everything. I mean, that's really what it says. You know, they have a little card. Well, you know, we'll say you own 49%, but we really own everything. And then today, and I did it in the first hour, you can look it up yourself. Did you see the announcement from Apple today? Apple was making I think it was the MacBook Pros here in the U.S., which I did not know, but they were, apparently. Today, Wall Street Journal reported, and Apple had to confirm it, I guess, that they are moving all of that production to China. Why? Because it's cheaper. Saves them on shipping costs, they said. Yeah, there you go. See what we're up against?
This is the Phyllis Schlafly Report, presenting a daily conservative pro-family perspective since 1983 and continuing the legacy of Phyllis Schlafly. Now, here's the president of Phyllis Schlafly Eagles, Ed Martin.
For 2.5 years now, liberals everywhere have been suffering from Trump derangement syndrome, a very contagious malady characterized by going crazy because one doesn't like that Donald Trump is now the president of the United States. As if that wasn't bad enough, it looks like this dangerous illness has evolved into something even worse. It's called FDR identity disorder, and it's commonly seen in young leftists who mistakenly think the best thing for America is to have a repeat of all President Franklin Roosevelt's worst policies. The first manifestation of this condition came with the so-called Green New Deal, which was a play on words of FDR's New Deal package of legislation. That package of legislation started unconstitutional socialist programs throughout our government. In addition, those suffering from FDR identity disorder want to retry FDR's failed attempt to pack the Supreme Court. He wanted to pack it with judges who'd toe the socialist line. FDR's plan would have expanded the Supreme Court to 15 justices so he could pick 6 new ones who wouldn't strike down his unconstitutional New Deal. A new political organization called Pack the Courts is trying to pick up where Roosevelt left off by saying we should add more judges to today's Supreme Court. They say that we have to add justices in order to nullify the votes of Trump appointees Gorsuch and Kavanaugh. They also say court packing is the best way to protect the Roe v. Wade abortion decision and protect the Green New Deal, when and if it's ever passed. These aren't just a few lone voices with a blog and a Twitter account. This court packing scheme is being pushed by liberal darling Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and at least 6 of the 2020 presidential hopefuls. Court packing is a very real threat, and conservatives need to be ready for it. Adding more justices to the Supreme Court is not the solution to our nation's problems. Americans shouldn't let liberals cheat the system. The Supreme Court is political enough already, without packing in extra liberal judges purely for political purposes. Those suffering from FDR identity disorder need a prescription, and court packing isn't it.
This has been the Phyllis Schlafly Report from Phyllis Schlafly Eagles. Whether it's the vision of our founding fathers, the courage of our veterans, the moral compass of Christopher Columbus, or the fortitude of presidents like Lincoln and Reagan, the truth of history should not be undercut by liberal ideology. At Phyllis Schlafly Eagles, we honor history even as we look to the future. Join us at phyllisschlafly.com. That's phyllisschlafly.com.
800-951-0592. You guys remember Kent Conrad? He was a senator from North Dakota, an expert on retirement security, noted that we sort of fallen into a retirement system built around 401k plans. But you would run into tremendous resistance politically if you tried to change it. And of course, I'm sitting there and you're thinking about the screw job that we got. And here's a former elected official saying, man, yeah, this 401k, and again, never meant. The 401k was not designed to be your primary retirement income. What it was really designed for was, it was really designed so big business could dump pensions. I mean, let's not kid ourselves. That's what it was for. And it was also designed to what? Get fees. Right? The bankers loved it. The investment houses, they saw this as the great opportunity to get more money from the citizenry. And of course, right, scaring everybody. Think about when they came into existence. Right? Alan Greenspan wasn't even the head of the Fed. It was Paul Volcker. We just had the inflation of the 70s, right? Remember, right? Fed funds rate was like 16%. And everybody was like, man, you're not going to have enough money. And the people that created the 401k, this is what they worried about. See, they didn't understand what was really going to happen. They were like, man, even with their pensions and their Social Security, we're probably not going to have enough money, and the baby boomers are going to retire. I mean, it's going to be bad. And so they wanted a way, hey, you know what, if we can get them to put a little bit of money into this thing, 30 years from now they can supplement their retirements. And think about the balances. If you're 55 or older, the average, not the median, because the median would be even less, but the average is about $100,000. So if you think about, okay, if I retired at 65 and I lived to 85, right, that $100,000, that'd be a supplement. I got an extra $5,000 a year, right? It actually is doing exactly what they thought it would do. No more, no less. And think about it. We've gone through it all the matches and all that stuff. And stocks are at an all-time high right now. So this is the best it could be. Right? This is the best it could be. And it's still only $100,000. Right? And it was really designed for them to what? Get all the fees, get all that stuff, and now a former elected official says that, hey, here's the problem. This thing was never meant to be used like this, and any effort to do something about it is meeting resistance. He's on Capitol Hill. He's now on, in the private sector, and talking about the need to improve access, to retirement and have a better vehicle than the 401k. And the guy's like, hey, every time we go to Washington to talk about this, nobody wants to talk to him. Right? You know why? Because they want to get reelected. Hey, I can't talk to you. You know how much money I get from the guys at Goldman Sachs? You know how much money I get from the 401k companies? You know how much money I get from the annuity companies and this and that, right? Yeah, I don't want to talk to you about that. And you sit there and you know what? They've got you convinced. And here's what's hilarious. When you start talking, and I know a lot of you listeners, you've done it. Maybe you try to talk to your spouse. Maybe it's your brother and sister-in-law, or your parents, or your kids. Maybe it's one of your neighbors, a buddy at work. When you start talking about gold, what do? I know a lot of you out there are like, yeah, man, I wish I could call, but my wife or my husband won't allow me to because they think that's a dumb idea because, they listen to Dave Ramsey, right? Yeah, you're right. You can save a bunch of money if you only ate rice and beans. Yeah. Yep, you're right. If you bought a piece of crap car and you live below your, of course, yeah, it's not rocket science. Doesn't mean that the 401k is a good investment. It's proven not to be. I've done the math for you. I just did the math for you. And when you're sitting there and they just don't want to hear it. Why? It's not their fault. They've been programmed. When we took gold away from the citizenry in 1933, they banned it. It was banned in this country. And the reason was simple. They knew, hey, if given the choice, they'll pick gold. So they had to take it away, and they took it away for 4 decades. And use that time to what? Try to convince you that the only way to have economic prosperity is to put your money into the debt markets. Give your money to billionaires. And really what happened is the billionaires got really rich. Think about it. Since the 401k, the number of people with security and retirement has fallen dramatically, right? Because there's no more pensions, right? The wealth gap between the middle class, the rich, and the poor is the biggest since the Great Depression, right? And this is why, because guess what? They told, oh, this is going to be great. It's just like NAFTA and GATT. Same thing. That's why I tell you all the time, please, be your own central bank. Be prepared. We'll be back right after the break. 800-951-0592. Gold's up 3, 14.15. Silver's up 10 cents, 15.30 on silver. The Dow is up 100 right now. Right there again, we got the big trade thing Monday. Who knows, man? It could be the whole scale of things. I think the best case scenario is they meet and Trump says, "Hey, we're going to keep talking, and I'm not going to do the. We're going to wait on the other $300 billion." I mean, I think that's the best case scenario for stocks, right? Worst case scenario is we made no progress, and I'm going to put, and Trump gives a day, right? He likes to do that stuff. Hey, August 1st or whatever it may be on the other $300 billion, and then you're going to have a dreadful Monday on Wall Street, and I don't even know it'd be a huge move on the gold side. We'll see what happens. Nobody knows. The problem is even the best case scenario really doesn't help either side. I mean, Wall Street will like it. Gold doesn't even care. Gold's more or less focused on the dollar versus anything else. But we're talking about how it is that so many people don't even want to hear about gold. They can't get their minds around it because their whole life they've been told, oh yeah, it's a relic, it's terrible, it's awful, and this and that, right? You'd probably be better off trying to talk about Bitcoin. Which, hey, listen, I don't want to make fun of Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin is like all the other instruments out there. It's a risky thing. You want to take a flyer? Go ahead. Just be prepared, right? Bitcoin now moves $1,000, $2,000 a day, so be careful. But I liken it to the free trade agreement. Remember how that was sold? And I mean, even the unions. How dumb are the unions? Right? They loved the 401k, right? They loved the free trade agreements. And now here we are, right? We want it all back. Got the former senators going out saying, man, you can't even talk to people up in Washington about retirement because they don't know what to do. There's no good answer. But think about how many stock channels there really is. I mean, I've got DirecTV. I've got Bloomberg on 353, CNBC on 355. What do they call it? Squawk Box Asia on 357. Fox Business on 359. Right? All dedicated to convincing you to keep your money in that 401k. I really don't, for those guys that are 59 and a half or older, I feel for you. I mean, what do you do? Because, when you call to look into your 401k and they tell you, well, you got to pay your taxes on that, and they just plop it onto your income and you find out that 30% of that money was never yours. At least when you get to 59 and a half, you don't get the 10% penalty. But I'm thinking about this, and I'm thinking about in the next 10, 15 years, how's that debt going to get paid? All right, China's not buying it, right? Japan's not buying it. Right now, right, all of our banks are buying it, your annuities and all that stuff. What happens at 30, 40, 50 trillion? I've got this thing in my head and I can't shake it. That I think they're going to take those 401ks and force you into treasuries. I just think that. Because I think about, remember Obama passed that thing about, oh yeah, we're going to let these savers now buy treasury bonds. And everyone kind of laughed, right? And nobody did it because, who's going to buy treasury bonds? The 10-year note was less than 2%, kind of like it is today. It's just wild. And I want people to understand, the great thing when you buy gold is I don't call you up every year and say, hey, your gold holdings, you got $100,000 worth of gold there, according to my math. Hey, why don't you go ahead and mail me a check for $2,000? And then next year I'm going to call you up. Hey, why don't you mail me another check for another $2,000? Right? And that's what happens with your retirement. Now, you're just giving them 2% every year. Right? Regardless, and there's nothing you can. What do? At most, you get to check a box. You don't even know. I've yet to meet anybody who has a 401k who actually knows what they have. You have no idea. Well, I'm in this fund and that fund. I'm not even sure which fund it is. I just checked the box that said, well, if you're this age, you should probably be in this category. And I'm like, oh, okay. That's what the pamphlet says. Does that sound like you're being prudent? Right? And all this nonsense, I love that. Oh, where are you going to store it and all this? Listen, $10 million of gold would fit in one of your wife's shoe boxes and there'd still be room. Just saying. Final segment for the week coming up. $800-951-0592. Today's special, it's funny. all of a sudden, all the gold that was laying around seemingly drying up out there. Big jump. I actually got to raise prices on $10 Liberties and Indians. I got a limited amount. Got 35 $20 Liberties. 35 $20 Liberties at $1,485. On the silver side of things, I've got rolls of $half at $125. So rolls of $half at $125. If you're looking to pick up some silver, you're going to save about $10 a roll. Not, that's a pretty nice savings there. $125 on a roll of $half. And then, of course, on the gold side, the older U.S. $20 Liberties, 1866 to 1907 at $14.85. And, I put it this way. If there's no deal and Trump puts a date, no deal, which there's not going to be a deal, okay, but if there's a date put on for new Chinese tariffs, I would expect gold to be at new all-time, new 6, 7, 8-year highs on Monday. Hopefully, I think this, I don't care. Because there's not going to be a deal. But if Trump wants to do the, hey, we're going to keep talking thing, which the Chinese will be more than happy to do, I still think you're going to see higher gold prices. Because I look at where we're at, we look at interest rates, look at the data we got today. Consumer confidence down. Chicago PMI now negative. So we've been seeing a lot of these reports now coming in, right? Slow down, slow down, slow down. Now we're starting to see some of these reports get into the negative. We got the July Fed meeting. I think the closer we get, and it's the end of July, the meeting. So the closer we get to that meeting, I think the closer the more you're gonna hear the pressure ramp up. You're going to hear a lot of the stock channels and the idiot box telling the Fed they better cut rates and you better be dovish. And I'm sure President Trump's going to be ratcheting up the rhetoric. And I really, the dollar here, the dollar's been sitting right around 96. When that falls, when 96 falls, you're going to see again the dollar dollar weakness pick up steam. This has kind of been this resistance point. This is going to be the next leg up for the gold market. So that's what we're going to be watching for. 800-951-0592. $20 Liberties at $1,485. And, of course, rolls of silver $half today at $125. Call before you head out for the weekend, 800-951-0592. Enjoy the weekend. Pay attention tomorrow. See what we can see about what the Trump administration is going to say about those meetings, and then we'll talk about it on Monday.